Good morning. How you doing? So, as a known insomniac, it is 5:16. I've been away for about an hour. I am. Can't help it. I am currently stood in my hotel window facing a man. What can I do? What could I have done to change the flash? So you could see this beautiful city, because now the flash is getting in the way. I will have to film this properly and show you what I see from my window. What I see from my window is a beautiful city waking. Shirley, good morning. I see a city stand proud of its history. A city making no effort to pretend to be anything but Arab, Middle Eastern Arab, and being beautiful, being gorgeous in its authenticity. I love it. Vanessa, good morning. But this morning, I'm not actually even here to talk to you about a man. This morning, I want to talk to you about Monday Blessing. How you doing? Would you guys hold on? I've decided that I'm going to get incredibly comfortable. So there we go. If we're going to have this conversation, we are going to have it with me incredibly comfortable. Yeah. Antoinette, how you doing? Yeah. Berenice, good morning. I am currently at the district's Toastmasters annual conference, DTAC 2025. I belong to District 105, and my district 105 has many countries, Jordan being one of the countries, and we are here for the annual conference. At this annual conference, they do, outside the competition, there's a lot of keynote speeches, there's a lot of teaching sessions, and yesterday I went to one that I knew I had to listen to. I saw the title and I knew. The speaker is Mohammed Shukri. Mohammed Shukri he was the first person from the Middle East to make it through to get to the annual champion speakers, the competition for champion of public speaking. He went from here. And he made a speech that touched me, connected the dots, and a speech that I cannot help but to talk to you about also. Elizabeth, how are you doing? Good morning. Mohammed's speech started with him going to university, not knowing what to do, and asking Baba. And when he asked Baba, Baba told him the only thing he knew. Baba knew that engineering was a good idea. Baba guided him to go and do electrical engineering, but he disliked electrical engineering. Angela, yeah. Okay, how are you doing? And Elizabeth. He disliked electrical engineering. It did nothing for him. But he was an electrical engineer, and he was electrical engineering for a while. Then, as he went into this electrical engineering, he found himself in safety. He went into safety because he needed to have a promotion, and safety was the place with the outlet, so he took it. But the safety he did used a program called NOSA, rather than some other program that was more well-known. Yeah, he did not understand why a company like the one he was working for used NOSA, but okay, they used NOSA, so he carried on and he did safety and NOSA. Round about that time, he went into public speaking, and he actually did make it to the world champion contest. And he came back with his CV, Stella, electrical engineer, the only person, the first and only person from the Middle East to make it to the World Championship of Public Speaking. But the dots were not quite connecting, and he came back. And to be fair, yesterday I was talking to some of the people who were sat with me. As I listened to this guy, I realized that he was telling my story. My story deviates slightly. I went into teaching because I wanted to. But I wanted to, and there were many other reasons why I went into teaching, so I did. My career path has gone promotion based, wanting to build a career and have a solid ground for my family's sake. So I identified with him and the journey he had gone. I'd gone to public speaking, and actually, there's a lot of parallels. He made it to the world champion of public speakers, his first attempt, 2 years after he joined Toastmasters. Mine was even more interesting. I got to the DTAC championship and I won it. I am DTAC champion 22. People don't even remember it still, but I'm DTAC champion 22 for table topics. And yeah, the trophy sits in my house. Olori and Marcia, the trophy sits in my cabinet. The certificate is for me. It's on my website. And these are the things. But the truth of the matter also is that me, Pauline, me. What do you do? What to do? What to do? Anyway, as I listened to this guy, I was thinking, yeah, your life actually reflects my life, and essentially the story reflects life trajectories. You do what you have to do. You do the best you can without really clearly knowing, and sometimes you get to points where it all doesn't seem to make sense. You get to points where you begin to think that there's something wrong with you. Anyway, he quit his job at some point. He had hit a rock bottom, so he quit his job. At the time when he quit his job, he didn't even know what he was going to do. And when he quit his job, he had an offer from an electrical company in Saudi. And they were inviting him, offering him roles, and he would not accept. He would not accept the roles, even though he didn't have anything else. And they kept going, and they kept going back. One day, in the attempt to get him to accept the Saudi job, they got him on the phone, and that's when he got a chance to speak to these people. And he asked them the most important question that was burning in his heart: why me? Why are you looking for me so much? And the people explained, well, they are a company with an electrical background. And are you not an electrical engineer? Yes, he's an electrical engineer. Anyway, they are interested in the safety aspect of their business in particular. Are you not a safety expert? He is a safety expert. But they wanted their employees also. And he had experience from power stations, which is what this company was. It is an electrical generation business, and this guy knows about power stations. But what was more significant is that what they were trying to do was unpopular. The staff did not buy. The staff were not enthused. The staff were kicking off. And what the company needed and wanted was somebody who would be able to speak to these people, who would be able to calm these people, incite these people, encourage these people to accept the new directions in which they were going. And they needed somebody who was motivational. Him. And he was one and only. The title is OAO, one and only. He was the one and only person who occupied these niches and intersected it so effectively. In fact, it was his ikigai. Eventually, he accepts the job. Then he tells story of his father. And this is where the main thing for me, the story of his father. His father was great, but his father was beginning to go senile, right? At some point, they thought that his father had Alzheimer's. And so they took him to India to go and do the dad had this thing, premonition, that he needed to go and see a guy in India, in Mumbai. Dad was being unreasonable. He did not even remember this guy, but dad had a name, and he said he needed to go to Mumbai to see this guy. Dad is becoming senile. So, but then they decided to humor him. The boys didn't want to do it, but their uncle told them, your dad always did what you needed and wanted. And this is his wish. You don't need to logically reason anything. Take him to Mumbai. And whilst you are there, actually give him a medical checkup, because medical checkups are cheaper in Mumbai, which convinced the boys. Yes, Miss Norma. And because they were convinced to go, they did. They took dad. They went and they did all the tests. He says at the last minute, they were given a new test to go and do, which was quite annoying. Blessings received and blessings sent to Trini. How you doing, sis? Yeah. But eventually they accepted to do this test. And when they did the test, the doctor who was reviewing, looked at the test results and told them, your dad has no Alzheimer's. He had NPH. NPH is something about pressure on the brain. And that there was abnormal pressure on their father's brain, which is what was explaining all these things. His movement, mobility issues, his senile behavior, blah, 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 blah. When they got the diagnosis, they didn't know what to do. So they contacted the one person whose name linked in with what their father had always said. And eventually they found an email address and they emailed this guy. Funnily enough, he replied. And they tell him, well, we are in India and this is what has happened. Our dad has been talking about you and he's thinking of, well, we brought him. This is what the doctor has said. The doctor has given us a new diagnosis, says it's a simple surgery and it might be, can you have it checked out? The guy had it checked out. The guy came back to them and says, interesting. I have given it to the top neuroscientist, a neurosurgeon in India. And he says that the diagnosis your father has just received is accurate. And the surgery that is suggested is on point. If you want, you can do it there in Mumbai, or you can come to this new place and see this person. Let me tell you the reason why I want to dwell on this story. The name of the person who was going to be a key player in this whole story was revealed unto his senile dad. In his senile state, he knew the name. In his vulnerable state, he knew that this name was going to be significant, but I don't think even he knew that it was going to be significant in his recovery. This was the guy who identified the neurosurgeon who eventually did the surgery successfully. And he says within a week of releasing this pressure in the father's brain, all the funny effects that his father had began to go. Even his senile behavior, which made them think it was Alzheimer's, was not Alzheimer's. It was not Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's was a misdiagnosis. And this character who helped them, and he was showing pictures of them going to the hospital, of the dad's recovery and all those things. I was watching and I was listening. And in my heart, this is what I want to share with you, because the story he was telling is so in line with my lived experience. Those who know me will tell you that I know before my time. Sometimes I would have a name in my head. Sometimes I would have a place in my head. Sometimes it would be an idea, a concept. Even coming to the social media and starting my academy, it was something that came to me in my head. And at the time, I had no backup. I had no explanation. I remember trying to explain to my husband what needed to be done. And my husband looking at me like, but thankfully for me, we had been married long enough and he had seen me pull miracles frequently enough to respect me enough to just let it be, even though I could not explain, even though it did not make sense. That's what I want to tell you. You see, a senile man was given a name he did not understand, but he was made to know this name was important. And he was able to self-advocate enough to get this name to the front. And eventually, this name leads to his recovery, leads to the solution that he sought. The point I'm trying to make is that the things that will help you, the things that you need are at your disposal. In your own head, you will know. No, it doesn't come through messages. The most important ones come to you. It comes to you. It comes to your own head. They make no sense. They make no sense because they come to you without the concepts that you need to be able to make sense of it. And at this point, he cited Steve Jobs' famous quote, "It is not possible to connect the dots going forward. The dots can only be connected looking backwards." The problem with most of us is that we do not create the dots in the first place. We don't create the markers. We don't take the actions that we are supposed to take to create the situations and scenarios and events that will finally connect to make sense. A job comes to you, and instead of you looking at that job and going to that job without knowing that the person who would be the key player in your story works at that place, the key player in your story, just works at that place. The job is just the means to get you to meet this person and to make the connection and to move on. But you won't because it's not reasonable. Or sometimes it is the fact that you are locked in a job that you've got to quit. You've got to quit the job so that you are free to do. I've been at that point for so long. I've got to quit my job. I've known that I've got to quit my job. But then you look at all the scenarios and and you stay. And by staying, you distract. You don't focus on, Julian, you don't focus on, you are not in the direction of, there is a thing you have to do and you don't do it. There's a place you have to be and you don't go to that place because it doesn't make sense. Because other people around you don't understand why. They would ask you to explain and you would not be able to explain, When his dad wanted to go to Mumbai, nobody understood. The boys were not even thinking of taking that. It was their uncle's intervention. Their uncle was also inspired. If you listen to the story, what should come to you and what I hope you get from what I'm telling you is that the universe always conspires to help you to win. It does. It will jog you. It will cajole you. It will jolt you. It will push you. It will try. The universe will try its best to help you to win. If only you will focus on acting on the things that come to you. One day you wake up and it tells you to go to Toastmasters. That's what happened to me. So I came to Toastmasters. What has happened to me already as a result of Toastmasters and what will happen going forward, now knowing and understanding what will happen going forward. Toastmasters is going to be such a significant element. I found myself at an interview some time back and the person asked me about students. Okay, so the thing was around universities and it was something to do with international exchange for students. Initially, when I first saw the thing, I thought that I had nothing to talk about. I'm not a university lecturer yet. I would like to be, and now I am very well positioned to be, but I'm not yet. I'm still a high school teacher. So how do I tell people in the university system that I could know enough? I'm not a university lecturer. And even worse, this thing is about international student exchange. I don't even work in university. I know nothing about international student exchange. That's a lie. That's a lie. And it was only in the middle of this conversation that I realized that that was a lie. When I was a girl, maybe when I was about 14, take it back. I'm very sure you can work the timelines now. 14. My mom was a coordinator of the Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme. So I was hanging around the awards. So I knew that as soon as I qualified and I got the opportunity to do the award, I had seen the award, I'd seen people take the award, I'd seen the atmosphere and camaraderie that the award system created. And as soon as I got the opportunity to join, I jumped in and I joined. I was participating in my school, whatnot. I did the bronze, the silver, the gold award. I actually stayed from the beginning of the program till the end of the program. And again. Then there was an international exchange program due to the award and its establishment. And I was one of the select few to go on this exchange program. And I did. I went on this exchange program, met so many fantastic people who became significant players in establishing the direction of my life, in inspiring certain things about me I met at that time. So whilst I was talking to this person, my memory is jolted and I said to the person, hang on, I come from the Duke of Edinburgh Award program. The person looked at me, interesting. Duke of Edinburgh. And I said, I did junior achievements also. Oh, you were in very interesting programs. I was like, yeah. And actually, I have been involved in student exchanges for quite a while because I am myself a beneficiary of an exchange program. And as a beneficiary of the exchange program, now thinking about it whilst talking to you, I do know firsthand the life transforming activity that can be. the boundary shifting, the groundbreaking, that trips like that can give young people, the opportunities that it can give young people to reimagine themselves, to dare to dream. I mean, I am here internationally working where most people won't because of situations like that. That is the moment when things that happened when I was 14, 15, 16, 18, those dots from my youth had been sitting latent for a long time. I hadn't even thought about it. I had not made the connection. But this year, in this conversation I was having with this person, without even realizing, one thing clicked and then the dots began to connect. As Steve Jobs says, the dot can only be connected looking back. When I went to junior achievement, nobody promised me nothing that it was going to, it just seemed like a good idea at the time, so I did it. And for years, junior achievement and the certificate sat there, didn't do anything. My gold award, silver award, bronze medals and stuff, they all sit in my profile from the Duke of Edinburgh award. It does not really, when I go for job interviews now, I have so much around my job itself, we don't even discuss these things. International exchange programs, what has that got to do with anything? And then we started talking. I have been a STEM coordinator in my school. I have working, especially voluntarily. I work with a lot of students on personal development, and I work on helping a lot of students position their CVs. It's one of the things that I've now become so passionate about, helping especially young graduates of high school to use their summer holidays to work on things that can help position them well. These are things I have done. I have done them because I have done them. I have volunteered to coach and mentor people because I wanted to coach and mentor young people for the sake of it. I have been involved in a lot of young people's bids for awards, bids for funding, bids. I am myself a bid winner. I have a few bids that I have done and got funding to work with students in school. These are things that had happened in my past. And some of the things that happened in the past, they were passing interests. They were fleeting interests. They were things that I did for the sake of doing. It did not make sense. And me, myself, I have never connected the dots. But in this conversation, Dee and Denise, as I talked to this person, things jogged. And yesterday, as I listened to Mohammed Shukri, even more dots were connecting. More dots in my life were connecting. And I was understanding the big picture that all my experiences create. And currently, my experiences are diverse. My experiences are deep. I have seen, I have walked, I have chased, I have caught, I have been whooped. But I have so many markers, and all my life seems to be doing at the moment is threading the markers, threading the home points, threading them together to create the constellation that is my life. You have to do certain things so that one day you will be able to sit in situations and connect. You have to take actions so that one day you will surprise yourself, like I have surprised myself many times recently, discovering that you have been, you have done, you have attained, you have become wide, you have become deep. But whilst you are taking each of those individual actions, you will have no idea of their significance. Steve Jobs' quote comes back in, you can only connect the dots from the past. You cannot connect the dots from the future. Well, I think that the strategic people create some of these things a little bit more logically. Yeah. You will be lucky and some things will happen by default, like they do. But I think that there is a certain effort that requires you to also have the presence of mind to take action, especially in your development, to create experiences, especially when you don't know. You want to go to places and when you hear of an opportunity, you want to take the opportunity easily. Take the opportunity, not knowing what the opportunity itself will bring to you in a few years, but understanding the diversity, depth will make such a difference to you going forward that you take every single opportunity to do the things you do. And then when the connection point comes in, it will connect in such a spectacular manner that you yourself will be left breathless. Yesterday, as I listened to Mohammed Shukri, I looked at my phone at something that has been offered to me that is sitting on my table. And I realized that the DTAC champion that I became in 2022 was a significant part of this. That every Toastmasters annual convention that I have attended, and I attend them at personal cost, the people that I have met at these conventions, the opportunities that these conventions create, that every day I am at home at this convention. I know almost everybody knows me too. How do these people know me? I put myself forward. I put myself through competition. I put myself through mentorship programs. I attend events. I participate. I am part of a tribe. You will only feel part of a tribe later, connecting the dots. Yesterday at the celebratory event, as I danced terribly and I watched other people dance just as badly as I watched these people and I could see the connection of the dots, especially of my actions since January 2022, when I had made a choice to join the fraternity, to come into this. And now almost everybody, I spoke to somebody yesterday, the person says, 10 years ago, I was a Toastmaster. I was actually I rose through the ranks and I became such a thing in the fraternity. I'm like, oh, interesting. I had no idea you were a Toastmaster. I didn't know. And you get into conversations with people and you start from one place and the conversation spirals and it goes into places and the dots connect. And like Steve Jobs said, sometimes the dots connect and it becomes so spectacular. But that connection can only happen looking back at what has happened in the past. So what am I saying to you today? Live with fidelity in the now. Know that everything that happens to you, even though it does not make sense now, would make sense later. Trust that the universe is not conspiring for your destruction. The universe is actually conspiring to help you win. Believing that the setbacks of today are just here to help you create the marker points of the future, which will build a spectacular vision for you when the dots finally connect. The more dots you have, the more intricate your thread connections would be, and the more likely it is that the masterpiece you reveal will be unique and significant before you and all observers. You are at your job and it's not working and you feel like you need to make a career change. Make a career change. An opportunity presents itself for you to make a parallel step to do something, not necessarily even for a promotion. Take it. Cheryl, take it. Okay, man. You go and people suddenly say something about an AI tool that you don't quite know. Go learn it. Because one day, in the connection of your story, you will discover that OAO, one and only who can do something will be you. And the things that distinguish you as OAO, the one and only for this thing, is because of the diverse things that have happened to you. And when those diverse things will happen to you, they may have been unpleasant. They may have been unwanted. So yesterday I posted on LinkedIn, I am in my unique positioning quite insane. I'm a trained teacher. I'm an instructional techniques expert. I am a gameful learning expert. I am one of the leading voices in the research around self-generated feedback leading into learner agency. I discovered that, I'm a scientist. I bring it from the puristic scientific element, which most people from those areas are quite traditional. I'm not. I'm a speaker. I can speak onto, I can motivate, I can incite. And when I looked at those stories, as I listened to Mohammed Shukri, because that was his aim, to help each one of us realize that we are OAOs of our own, one and only. I am the one and only who does what I do with all the various elements that I do. There are many physics teachers, there are many chemistry teachers, many biology teachers. But when I teach from the point of teaching experience. I teach from being a student who was taught by some great teachers and some horrific teachers and knowing the difference between them. I teach from the years that I have done in staff training and development, but I teach from the years that I have been an examiner, the years that I have understood exactly what will score and what will not score. When I teach, I'm teaching a young lady, and every time you teach that girl, you can see the chips fall in place and the awe in her face when she watches me do. What I'm doing now is just teaching a young lady. But what the young lady is experiencing is a connection of the dots of the various things that have happened to me, of all the places that my career has been, of all the understanding that I have built of how young people learn and develop, of my deep knowledge of my subject. When I meet people, especially teaching experts, and we talk, people will tell you about how phenomenal my subject knowledge is. Yeah, my phenomenal subject knowledge comes from things that are not always pre-planned. Part of me and the depth of my subject knowledge actually comes from being lost as a student. I always wanted to be a medical doctor. Always. I told you. The prophecies that were given on my birth from the day I was born on my life consistently was that I would be a doctor. So for me, being a medical doctor was the thing, because that's the obvious thing that I thought would get me the doctor title. And I was so convinced and convicted by the fact that I would be doctor. Okay, interesting. University, it all unravels, and it's not going down the doctor route. I'm lost. I only had one thing that I wanted to be. I didn't know what I was going to do next, so I was lost. When that happened, I started choosing courses across the sciences because I needed to make up. And at some point, I wanted to do biochemistry, but the biochemistry course had closed the day before I made that decision. Then I wanted to do a specialty, which was also unavailable. By the time I had actually cried enough, rallied enough, and figured out where I was going to, all the other considerably sensible places that I was going to move to were all taken. Food science, taken. Biochemistry, taken. Everything, taken. And so in being lost, I took a bit from here. I did a bit of genetics. I did some physics. I did some chemistry. And that is one of the reasons why I am one of the few teachers that can tell you that I am actually genuinely triple specialist. I'm a triple specialist science teacher. I actually did go through and find the multiple specialisms. So I've got different postgraduate certificates of education in the 3 sciences. And I am able to teach all 3 sciences to A level. To this day, I don't know how many people I know who would be able to say that to you. But on top of that, I started marking in one. And then they offered me in another. And then they offered me in another. I mark across all 3. And when you mark, you get the privilege of working in the back end with the exam boards. You are very clear of what scores and what doesn't score. When you teach, you can waffle on. You can waffle on and you can explain irrelevant things. And sometimes you don't emphasize the important things. But when you go into the examiner training, you become so sure of what is required. So that now, especially when I'm preparing examination candidates, and I would say you have to say this specific thing here in order to score this point. No, there's no point drooling on about this one because it doesn't lead anywhere. You want to emphasize this instead and do this instead. And when I do it, the students look at me like, yeah. Right now, we are at But the things that led me to this were not all planned. The things that led me to this were not all pleasant. A lot of the things that created the diversity in the knowledge, yes, I studied all of them across at university, because at that time I didn't know where I was going with this degree. I just knew that I needed to make up modules. So I was taking modules and I was just selecting and trying to, I knew from talking to a few people that when you are not sure, you want to be broad. So I was being broad. I take some from here, I take some from there, I take some from here. I remember my friend asking me, why are you doing this? Why? A lot of the subjects you are picking are so hard. Why don't you narrow down and just take things and make, and I didn't. And I was doing them. But now, all those things that were a lost girl's helpless attempt to try and connect and create something for myself to graduate with. When I graduated, all of it was a waste of time, because I even left it and went into sales and customer services for a while before I decided, Octavia, to come back and work with and get into education and put my degree to use. Yeah. But now, when I talk to a lot of people in the profession, I realize that a lot of people in my profession would rather kill to be me and to be positioned the way I am positioned. The journey to the positioning was not intended. The journey to the position was not even understood. The journey to the positioning just required you doing the very best you can at some time and listening to your gut. It knows what to do. Your gut knows, even when your head does not understand. I have been asked so many times to explain so many things that I have no clue about. Why are you taking these courses? I could not answer the question. Now I can. You can connect the dots from the past, but you cannot connect them looking in the future. Now I can. Now I understand that the universe was conspiring to help me to be deep, to be wide, to be uniquely positioned as a multiple expert. We're talking to a friend and I said to the person, I am lost. And the person says, why are you lost? I don't know which direction I should go into. I can go into university lectureship. I can see me lecturing on a teacher training course, which is what I thought I would do. But at the moment, those opportunities are not quite presenting themselves. So I know it's not necessarily what the universe believes I should do. I could go into public speaking. And yeah, public speaking and personal development is also something I am very skilled, very experienced, very qualified to teach. And it's becoming a thing at a lot of universities. I could lecture on that. I could lecture in business because I've been running businesses as a rookie for a while. I understand business. I can lecture in business. And the person was like, what an amazing problem to have. Yeah. What an amazing problem to have. But the years where these experiences and these things were created did not always feel amazing. I had no direction, so I was spiraling. That's how I felt in significant portions of that story. I was spiraling. I had no direction. I tried this, it didn't work. And then I moved on to the next one, trying to salvage something for myself. And I just kept going. The dots don't connect so that you can be at peace whilst you go. This is what I want to share with you today. Sukad, the dots don't connect in real time. So in real time, you will be lost. The dots cannot be connected looking forward. So looking forward, you would think you have failed. The dots don't connect going forward. So looking forward, you would think you have lost your way. It feels like you are retreating. It will feel like a surrender. It will feel like you don't know where you are going because the dots don't connect. But one day, when the right scenario comes, and in the middle of conversation, your mind casts back and you look back at the journey of your life, the dots will click in place. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And many times when this has happened to me, especially recently, my jaw has hit the floor. And the one thing I feel when my jaw hits the floor is how I wish I knew at the time when I was experiencing what I was experiencing and my heart was breaking, at the time when I cried myself to sleep, at the time when I was confused and frustrated, at the time where what I wanted was not coming to me and all these random things were coming to me. Why? Why is my journey not straight? I have asked many times. Why? Why is my own always so complicated? Why? Why? Why is it that things always, I seem to move forward and then you go 10 steps back and then you take 8 steps forward and you move 10 back and it's a yo-yo, it's a zigzag. Well, you are simply like a 3D printer etching out all the intricacies of what is going to be a master class. You've been trying to get in touch. Oh, Frida, find me on WhatsApp, yeah? Find me on WhatsApp. Yeah. I got introduced at a program, and as the person read my biography, I had goosebumps all over me. Because the things the person had dug up, because they asked me to describe myself and I gave them like 10 words. That's all you will get out of me. Most of the time when people ask me to describe myself, it would be a very basic, that's all you will get. But this person had taken time to dig me. And this person she just wanted to present me as accurately as she could. And as this person spoke, I turned around and I was looking for who she was describing. And as the chips fell in place, I realized it was me she was describing, and there was not a word of a lie in the description. Not a word of a lie. Every marvelous thing she said I had done, and more. She had only found a fraction of what I have done, which is publicly declared. A lot of me is still undeclared. But as I listened, I was like, damn, girl, I have lived. Damn, I have done. Damn, it's amazing. Even me, I was having that reaction and I lived through it. And the people who were listening, the people who were hearing what she said, especially for the first time, were stunned. Yeah. Yesterday, another person in this Toastmasters convention tapped me and says, do you realize that you are the only Black person in this room? This is a room of about 500 people. 500 people. I don't know if I was only, now thinking back, I don't think I saw any Black people in last year's convention where I was either. So the first thing the person says, you realize you are the only Black woman here, like proper Black woman here. I looked. Actually, there isn't a Black man here either. Just you. And I looked at this long room with all these people, and I found myself appointed, assigned, whatever. I am the one rep of the people who look like me. I am the one rep of the people who are me. And I dare say I am a damn magnificent representation of my people in these spaces. Yeah, the dots connect. And it makes sense. I felt yesterday that I am here to work to help people understand excellence and associate it with my people. When I am in these spaces now, people respect me. And in places where people respect me as me, looking like me, I am representing those who are like me in excellence. Yeah. the decisions that I have taken to get me here. If I chose not to come for this one, well, this room would have not had one of us represented. Not one of us would have been represented. And I find myself in many, many rooms representing, whether I'm representing my gender, whether I am representing my race, whether I am representing my creed, and most of the time, it is me, the one and only of my kind, representing my kind and doing my damn best to give a good representation for those I represent. The dots connect in hindsight, not in real time. Most of the times, in the spaces that I have found myself representing, I never made that choice knowing. I did not know I would be the only Black person in this room when I was coming. I did not know. I did not know that I was going to be the only this and the only that in places. There are many jobs, many situations that people pursue you because they recognize you are the one and only. And in his concluding statements, he identified when you are the OAO, you don't compete, which is where I find myself now. You don't chase. You don't even advocate. You just you, occupying your unique positioning, doing the best you. And it's funny, eventually, those around you will also make the realization that you are the OAO, the one and only who can do it. I've seen so many situations where people have figured that I am the one and only, and most of the people do not want me to be the one and only. I have seen people fight to stop me from being the one and only. I have seen people bring usurpers to try and do things, to try and usurp, but it doesn't work. I am the one and only for that. And that assurance has helped me calm down so. It has curbed the unnecessary ambition, the unnecessary strive to get. Just focus on doing you with fidelity. Sweet Chloe. Doing you with fidelity. Becoming the best version of you that you can become every single day. Taking steps that is inspired by your gut and trusting that what you hear in the mind did not come on the wind. You know, the little voice that says, Esther Beckles, become a teacher. It says that for a reason. Yeah. Cecilia Spencer, go to Spain. That voice is speaking to you for a reason. Aisha's diary, Aisha, go to the mall. Go to the mall and look for a shoe. Because there's somebody in the mall you need to meet. You've got to listen to that voice. You've got to trust it. Donna, you've been a nurse for 10 years. No longer be a nurse. Go and become an administrator. It doesn't make sense. But there's a reason why that comes to you. Deborah Lewis, you are awake. Turn on your Facebook and you end up on my feed today. This is not an accident, Harrison. This is not an accident. Nothing is an accident in your life. Nothing is a mistake in your life. Nothing is unplanned in your life. Nothing is just random. Nothing is random. The dots have not connected yet. That's why you think it's a mistake. The dots have not connected yet. That's why you think it is latent. It has not become useful yet. That's why you think it's a waste. You don't know why you met this person yet. Yeah, sometimes in the middle of doing something, I realized that I needed some people and I already had their business cards years in my thing. I already had their email address years somewhere. Sometimes you would need to demonstrate that you have an edge, and the edge came years before. Nothing is an accident. Know this. Whatever you feel in your heart, be brave, be bold, have faith that it is for your good, because at the end of the day, there are only wins for you. Tangible wins and lessons. They are all wins. All wins. Yeah? How do you say your name? Ochidi or Okidi? How you doing? Yeah. No mistake. All the men you have met, they were here to teach you something. It will make sense later. All the women you have met, they were here. They are dots. They are unconnected yet. That's why it doesn't make sense. So feel free to plant your pegs as you go. You wake up and it says you need to start exploring, going, okay, start exploring. When the thought came to me to go abroad, I had no idea where abroad I was going. I thought I was going to go to Australia. That's why I thought I was going to do Australia or New Zealand. At the end of the day, there was no Australia or New Zealand for me. It was the Middle East. But this was going to be the place which has the opportunities, it has the environment, it has the unique elements which were going to help me use a lot of the things that I had become over the years and did not even recognize. Monique. And so I came and I found myself in situations and I found myself standing up to speak, standing up to do. And the environment has nurtured me. I could not have become the things that I have become in the United Kingdom if I had stayed in the way I have become, so effortless. Yeah. My gut knew where I needed to be, even when my brain didn't know. And now connecting, my brain is the last thing to understand. Oh, that's why. That's why. This will always connect at the last minute, but this knows in advance. Trust it a little bit more. Be calm a little bit more. Look here a little bit more. Pay attention to here a little bit more. Explore here a little bit more. Ask, what's next? And it shall come to you. I don't want this to be too long, but I think that I have hit it for those who needed. Nini, those who needed to hear this, I hope I have hit it for you. I hope that the burning desires in your heart, Ansela, the things that you can't explain, the things that you know, the compulsions that you feel begin to make sense to you now. They are not there by accident. They are there by design. They are there by intelligent design. Well orchestrated, intelligent design. The dots just have not connected because you are looking in real time for connections. Connections don't happen in real time. They only happen in hindsight. So be brave in the real. Be brave looking forward so that you may be able to be astonished in hindsight by the sheer magnificence of the random things that are not random, but connect to orchestrate a wonderful life well lived. Now, when I look at my CV, every place I have worked looks magnificent. When I was working there, it didn't feel magnificent. It just felt ordinary. Every role I have taken looks astonishing. It was not astonishing to nobody whilst I was doing it. Every side step, every parallel step, even the things that felt like retreating, look phenomenal on my CV. In real time, it was not. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the gospel according to me this morning. And I hope that this gospel has landed on fertile ground. I hope that this gospel has helped you understand some of the mysteries of life and that it gives you the conviction to look forward, to move forward, to do, and to be. Assalamu alaikum. That is what my hosts say. It is one of my favorite ways to greet at the moment because it's a prayer unto you. I hope that this message, the understanding of this message, calms your storms. I pray that the realization of what I'm trying to project helps you to have peace on your storms. That you have peace and you are calm and you just believe and you have faith and you take actions and don't overthink. You wait for the connections. Salome, as life carries on, the connections would only happen in hindsight. So don't worry too much about it prematurely in the real time. Mr. Joyce. Mwah. Anyway, I'm punched out. I'm done. My message is done. Beautiful. Now I can breathe and I can start getting ready for breakfast and ready for what I am here for. My event is actually today. Yesterday was just, today is the real deal. And yeah, I know I'm going to plant some deep pegs today. I don't know what pegs. I don't know in which direction. I don't know. But today we will plant some because now I understand life. And so I'm ready with my hammer. Wherever I see a peg, we are hammering it down. Oh, we are hammering it down. We are hammering it down to secure because I know it will hold thread in the future. Yeah. Chitraka, what a lovely name. How are you doing? Yeah. I am now a little bit more conscious in pegging down securely because I know that I will come back to thread. Good morning. Hey, Nanare, it's been a long, long, long time. It's good to see you. Yeah. Now I don't plant my pegs haphazardly. I hit it. I hammer it down because I know sometimes it will take years before the thread is ready. And I don't want to come back and find loose pegs. I don't want to come and see holes with no pegs. I want to hammer down so securely that when the time comes to thread, my hammer and its job holds down a peg that allows me to connect and get a crisp image. Yeah, very long time indeed. Hammer today, knowing that you are planting the pegs that you will thread later. You have also been missed. It's wonderful to see you. Hammer with fidelity, knowing that you will not thread right now. You will thread much, much further on. You don't want to come back and see your pegs lying so that you have to redo. Do it well. Do it efficiently, effectively once. Hammer now, knowing that you would always come back to thread. Whatever work you do now, you will gain the benefit of later. You benefit from it later. Salamu alaikum. I pray that this helps you as much as it has helped me. Me, this morning, I have a smirk on my face because I understand life a little bit more. My apprehensions are less because I understand some deep, deep fundamental truths. And it helps me a lot to manage my day-to-day. And I hope the experience I have, at least to some extent, is the same you get after this interaction you've had. See you soon.